Hello guys, it is your friendly neighborhood Panda Man back at it with another video, another banger. But we are back at it and well, we are looking at some more G2, and a lot of this video is still going to be tower defense. I actually had a 50-minute video or 15 minutes of footage that I was editing down because I didn't want you guys to suffer for another video of just only tower defenses, and I wanted to make sure that we could end this little era, right? And then we could get into the next stuff, which is, more like, of course, more G2. But I didn't want to make too many videos and bloat it. Just so you guys know, I do think of you guys, and I don't want to make you guys just hate me. But let's get into it. So you are seeing some more tower fights just coming out from G2 at this point. So I will explain how things unfolded. So basically just towers on towers on towers of fighting all day. It was just honestly non-stop. These guys were holding on with their life, and Boone was honestly pushing through pretty hard, and they were taking a lot of losses. And I mean, so were ANCS as well, but both sides were just hurting. You also have Mob trying to put pressure on the other towers off to the left, and I'll tell you guys right now how they actually crumpled through the defenses. It took a lot of work, but Boone eventually built a tower, in that corner that I mentioned in the last video. But there was a little corner where their village was, and like there was a little like area that they could build a tower. It was just like a tiny little slip of slot. But if they built it there, they would basically be able to connect with Mob to one of the towers, and then they would be able to start double rallying. And that's exactly what they needed. They needed to just melt through one of these towers and be able to drop in and kind of just force it down so Mob and Boone could kind of start double rallying other towers together. And that's what I said in the last video. This would have probably saved them so many losses. And of course, like I said, we can always look back on this stuff and be like, oh, they could have done this different. This was so stupid. Why didn't they think of that, right? But obviously, this was something that, I mean, I wouldn't have been thinking of at the time, that they needed to do. I actually think I was thinking of that, but I didn't say anything about it. So, honestly, in general, it's like I always say, it's easier to look back in hindsight and call stuff stupid, but honestly, they did their best, and I think they were overcommitting some of these fights and just putting up too much pressure. I think you also see them sitting on the tower there, trying their best to stop people from reinforcing. And the trick around that is obviously zooming out on the map and trying to hit into the tower, as well as just looking at the rally and trying to pop in. Also a way to avoid people from trying to sit on your tower is using like an AoE hero. Like you see people just sitting around the tower, you swap onto Lewis and maybe like, I don't know, Rhaegar and Lewis or something, and then maybe you can get some AoE drops and then swap back to your actual garrison captains or heroes. Because, if you don't, sometimes they'll just swarm the tower and try to take advantage of you putting on weaker heroes. In general, you guys get my point. Everyone was just doing their best to hold on, trying to push through. Honestly, I can imagine that I can't, okay, with Mob, I can't imagine that I could not imagine that these guys would have been able to hold a tower rally of range for so long. Like I know that Mob is strong and they have a lot of fighters, but honestly, range drops so fast, it melts so fast, and the amount of damage that it puts out is unreal. I'll give you guys an example. I saw a rally report from Mob that had like, I think it was 50 million might lost on ANCS and 40 million might lost on Mob, right? And one tower rally. And that was within the period of an hour. And you would see a Boone rally with, let's say, Jin and Tom that lasted for 3 hours long. And the results were just so much less, like damage wise on both ends. I think it was maybe like 30 million on, like, for example, ANCS maybe 30 million on Boone. I forgot what the tower report really was, but in general, the report was just so much like smaller on the trades and stuff. And that kind of goes to show just how fast range can melt through something, as well as just how fast it also melts itself. It's just way better at dealing damage, but it's just so much harder to maintain a rally like that. It's so freaking deadly. And honestly, the fact that those guys were able to maintain that rally over the period of that hour was very impressive to me. I don't think I could hold a freaking, I don't know, that those rallies are definitely hard to hold. Just having players who are also willing to lose troops like that is a feat in itself. But yeah, also just the defense, man. I can't believe these guys were able to hold 4 towers for as long as they did. Of course, not all 4 were sieged for hours straight, but still, being able to just hold these towers for as long as they did was, surely hard, because even if they're getting less deads, I'm sure the injuries are actually really burning through them. I think in this case, it low-key might be better that you're just getting deads, you know, as long as you have the troops that can cover throughout the whole island raid. Even if you're eating the losses, it might just be better, you know, it might just be better to eat those losses in any case, because this is a freaking pain. This is a pain to try to maintain this, you know. And if you're healing all those freaking bills, it might just be better for you to have those troops die at a, you know, different ratio than actually having to heal those nonstop, you know. So the heals are just deadly. So like it's a win loss honestly for defense, and I'm sure like the amount of resources they burned through was unreal. I'm sorry guys, I'm just ranting away. I'm just ranting away. I got so little to talk about. Also, guys, I want to just discuss this. You know, if anybody has any opinions, can you put it in the comment section? So I've noticed a lot, for example, in G1, you will see Jin used way less, and reasonably so, you know. Let's say you see a lot more of Bella and like, you know, just her freaking handy dandy night devil out there. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name because I get it wrong every time and I feel embarrassed. But you guys know what I mean. Also, this is the report I was talking about earlier. But you guys notice that like Jin is used way less. The only case I think that he's any use at this point in like such a high bracket is maybe with like an infantry hero. I feel that range has it set. You know, you might use like Chun and Lewis, or freaking Carrie and Lewis, or just something like that, right? I feel the only time that you will use like Jin at this point is using infantry, and I mean, I think that it works out, or even mixed rallies. I don't think you'd see many mixed rallies in G1 at this point. Like, you just have enough troops to be able to fill rallies. But in general, it's just something I've noticed, you know? And I think it's kind of interesting to note that how useful Jin is late game at this point, or if he is useful at all anymore. You know, I feel for infantry rallies, it is definitely harder to find like an infantry captain commander who you might be able to want to run, because I mean, infantry in general is way less when it comes to like damage or something. You know, you'll see maybe a Dutt and Tom. That's like the best I can think of right now as a good infantry rally. I've tried a Dutt and Peterson, and the only reason I do a Dutt Peterson sometimes would be to maintain healing on the rally if you're not able to keep it full. Otherwise, I think a Dutt Tom works. But then it's also like, you know, is that really the best choice? You know, maybe Jin a Dutt might be better, or Jin Tom. I'm not really sure. I want someone give me your opinions in the comment section. I feel it's a very interesting discussion to have. I always am super interested in rally duos, how rallies do, just good commanders for this type of things, or heroes. I call them commanders. But yeah, honestly, these sieges went on for a long time, and soon you guys are gonna be entertained. They will break through. They will have some double rallies, and then some bases will burn. I don't know if you guys see Alexis up here. Alexis, we zeroed her on day one. She got zeroed again. He or she got zeroed again by Boone. I'm pretty sure they actually trained troops, because when we zeroed them, they dropped all the way down to, I don't know, I think it was 83 or 86 or 87, something around there, million, right? And then when they healed back up, I'm pretty sure they had more than their actual hospital capacity at like 106 million. I might be wrong about this, but they got zeroed again, even if they didn't have deads. That's just gotta hurt, man. But they got freaking beat on. And there was also Mufasa. Actually, I've heard some good things about Mufasa being a pretty chill guy, so I feel a little bad that he got zeroed, you know. But it is what it is, I guess. You know, you sit on this territory, you're gonna get beat on. And I mean, you guys see freaking Mob actually kind of getting in here, and I think the double rally is soon gonna come, because Boone and Mob managed to attach this tower together, and that is when it got dangerous. The fiasco started heating up. Also, guys, I know I want to say real quick, you know, I don't mention Soap a lot because they weren't really tower fighting here, but Soap really did put in their work. You know, I always like to recognize alliances that try, you know, and try to assist. I think Orc did a pretty good job as well. I mean, of course, they weren't always here. And I mean, to be fair, even if they did try to assist, they would really only be putting themselves at a loss by making themselves like the big target, right? So in general, it makes sense. But Orc did try to help to best their ability for the most case, and I think that really needs to be recognized. And I mean, when you really consider the other alliances in this bracket being Prime, SOS, Nut. None of us could have really done much here, especially SOS and Nut, being that they have zero whales. Like, they have no whales there. I know one of the Alliance's top players are what, like 40 to 60 million. And then I think that's Nut. And then SOS maybe has like what, like a 60 million something. I don't know. In general, they have no whales to defend towers. Tower fights would be just stupid and they would just slaughter themselves. So, reasonably so, they sat out, and I mean they did try to bother Boone, I guess, a bit, maybe hitting nodes and all that, but in general they sat on their lonesome, and it was probably the good choice. We probably should have done the same thing when we got beat on, but we didn't. Also, you guys see the double rally here, pretty nice, and you guys will see some swarms coming in soon. These guys are beating on it together, and honestly, with these two rallies just beating on it together, already going to be putting in too much work for kind of NCS to hold on for, like, and the trades from the double rallies are normally going to be pretty bad. So in general, this is not the most favorable situation, and soon enough they're going to be swarming this thing. So on top of having two rallies hitting it, they're going to be getting beat on. They're going to be struggling to keep this thing full. And then they're just going to be taking debuffs from all these heroes that are swarming it. So it's just, I mean, like, what do you expect from ANCS? The second they started, having people double rallying this thing, it was just over. Honestly, I think it was smart that they ended up giving it up at some point and kind of stopped trying to hold it. Because if they tried to hold it, they were just going to be putting themselves at a loss, be it trades and all of that. Just it would just be disgusting. I'm not sure if they intentionally gave it up, but you did see them start porting off and just stop defending it at some point. And like I said, I think that was the right choice, because if these guys just tried to keep holding it, they were just going to trade really bad and they were just going to eat losses. And it's better that they moved back to helipad knowing that they were going to lose, like, in general, and try to take as good as fights as possible, as good as trades as possible, and make the best of this bad situation. So you gotta give it to them, and you gotta give it to these two alliances, Boone and Mob, for working together so well here. I wish I had freaking good coordination when it came like this with other alliances, be it rallying together and stuff. Just overall, it's hard for me to coordinate, especially in other people's territory, since I am a multi-account person, and that makes it even harder to work around people's bases. Also, I don't know if you guys saw the trades there, but the death ratio trades were kind of in Mob's favor, as well as like injuries by a big, massive like troop load. And of course, like I said, these guys were the second rally, right? You had Boone taking the first rally, and that meant Mob was trading even better on the second rally. And honestly, it sucks right here that you see Mob actually take the brute force of the trades here. Like, they took the first contact because they had range. Of course, that rally ended very soon, thankfully. But in general, Mob was about to tank the damage with a range rally, which isn't smart. You want Boone's infantry rally to tank that, and then you have all the damage rallies hitting around it. That's generally the best way to go about it. And now you guys are just going to see total mayhem as these towers start to topple. It's usually how it goes. One tower drops and then the rest start toppling. That kind of happened in our case as well. We just started having to give up towers one after another. And now you were seeing this dude that gets beat down, still with those same garrison captains. Like, bro, why does he have Carry on his wall, man? Carry. And even Chun, so these swarms are not in his favor. Of course, Boone probably could have done better by not swarming this guy, but I guess he only had like 1 million or so troops. So even if they're trading at a loss, like kill wise or something, they probably don't care. They just want points. They just want to murder this dude, and they want to make his day as bad as possible. And you know what? They probably succeeded in doing that. And poor Mufasa is next in the corner over here. He's about to get rallied, and then he's going to get swarmed down, I think, after the first rally. The smart thing probably would have been to set another rally instead of just totally swarming him. But Mufasa did actually come on after the rallies and the swarms, like right after he got zeroed and shielded. So honestly, if they did wait on like a second rally or something, he probably would have had time to come online and save himself. So in general, them doing like a swarm probably was the smartest thing they probably could have done. Of course, the trades were totally disgusting, because when you consider someone maybe like 120 million might, you can guess that they have maybe 2 million to even possibly 3 million tier 6 troops. Of course, it's probably more in the range of 2 million, and like the lower end, I'm guessing it'd be maybe 2.5 mil or something in his case, or 2.7 mil right here, 400k in the hospital, and after that swarm, he's still got like a pretty decent amount, over 2 million tier 6. So tanking these swarms, he's probably trading pretty well. And you also see that he gains 2 million kills during this, but he does drop over 30 million might. So, oh, that's a big yikes. That definitely was painful. And you guys are going to see his beginner and ending might in a second. I will kind of put it up on the screen. But yeah, this is definitely disgusting. And the swarm seemed stupid at the time, but really considering that he came on so soon after, it probably was the right choice. And they ended up milking this dude's kills, and just his troops were just dead. Honestly, you always got to feel for somebody getting zeroed. I think it's, it's a part of the game, so it's natural, and it's always good content as well. But in general, you really think about it, you play all this time, be it spending money or not spending money. Generally, both are pretty bad, and you lose all this might, you lose all those troops. It's really got to hurt, and it's got to be discouraging. I got zeroed once, and luckily, I have a pretty good mindset when it comes to it, and it's just like, it's my fault. I got zeroed. It's whatever. I'll always recover. Troops are meant to die, and it's hard to get a mindset like that. You're really going to be discouraged sometimes coming in. Also, yeah, that was over 30 million might drop, so that was disgusting. Try to just be really positive once you get zeroed, though. Try to think on the good side of things. It's the best way to get over these type of just it's the best way to get over it. I know everybody's gonna be sad when they're zeroed, and I definitely was sad, but I mean, at least I got a lot of kills, right? Kind of. I mean, I got totally murdered, so I guess I didn't get a lot of kills. They didn't give me no ground to work with. um but yeah, another tower drops here. Another one bites the dust. And then you see the reports. These reports are absolutely disgusting. And I mean, Jess was murdering this rally, but boom, that is the end of this. And now we are going back to just some more field action. I mean, I am blabbing at this point, guys. I have nothing to talk about. I mean, I think I've talked about all the main points that I wanted to in like the recent videos. Of course, there's still a bit more to come, and I don't want to spoil it by just going through all of it. So I'm keeping my mouth shut, and I'm just talking about what's going on here. I mean, more tower fights from freaking Boone. I think that these guys just wanted points and wanted to milk ANCS. Like, they didn't care about their losses, which was a bit crazy to me. Honestly, after I pushed them off that tower connecting to village, I think that you put a tower in front of village and you just leave ANCS and force them to commit tower fights. Because honestly, at that point, they're just going to be doing their best to take as good of trades as possible, milk as many points, and it's just not really reasonable to try to fight that, I guess. I mean, the thing is, you don't want them being connected directly to the village, and that's why I could understand Boone and Mob trying to beat them down together, because if they're connected to the village, they could siege it anytime, take advantage of maybe Boone being off or something like that. But if they were to try to take the village back and they weren't directly connected, it would take them a good 20 minutes of burning Boone's tower, and that's if Boone doesn't even come to defend it in the first place. So in general, saying that Mob and Boone are, kind of working together over here, that would probably be the better choice. And there's also like them pushing them back to helipad kind of gave them less room to work with, building around them and all that. Overall, it was a really funky situation, though I can still understand them pushing them back. And there's also just a lot of vendetta between ANCS and Boone, so I'm sure Boone just wanted to show up and just just get a lot of kills here and murder these guys and feel satisfied with the results. And you know what? I'm sure they felt satisfied no matter how many losses they took, because they did end up winning at the end of the day, and this was a pretty fun and entertaining island. So, I mean, I just want to have fun at the end of the day. I don't care about all these grudges. I try to just look the other way and have a blast. But honestly, I'm losing my mind doing a 20-minute voiceover right now because this video had to be so freaking long because I had too much freaking footage, and I was trying to speed it up as much as possible, cut it down, give you guys all the juice. But yeah, this is about end of the video, and you guys can enjoy the few seconds you have remaining. I do appreciate you guys as always, though, and you guys have an amazing day or night, though, and I hope you enjoyed the video. So peace out.